And I tell my goalkeepers, whenever you get in that position in a shootout, the first penalty, don't go anywhere. He's just as nervous as you, and that ball's just going to come around me. Well, I didn't listen. I went right, the ball came straight down the middle, clipped my fingers, and went in the back of the net. I've gone to myself, you stupid bugger. Well, Phil Neal has finished tying his bootlaces, puts the ball down, bang. Then comes little Bruno Conti. He picked the ball here, and he's like this. And you can almost hear him singing to himself, I'm Bruno Conti. I crossed the ball for Bruzzo to score. Now I'm going to score penalty. So I ran into the net and I would went like this. And he went, oh, he looked at me, went to the spot, puts the ball down. Puts the ball down, takes 2 steps backwards. I went onto the net, onto the line, looked at him, and I did this. He took 2 steps and blasted the ball over the top of the bar. And I thought to myself, it might work. Well, Souness puts the ball down and he sticks it in the top right-hand corner. If they had 2 goalkeepers, they would never have saved it. Then comes, it didn't come. I couldn't get into the goal quick enough for the next penalty. I go, come on, you're going to make my day. 2 days ago, I was watching you take penalty after penalty in the stadium. Same corner, come on. As he came and kicked the ball, I took off top right. It went in top left. And then when I realized, when I came off the floor and I had a look at the stadium, I remember 2 days ago I was watching him from the other side of the stadium. Rushy picks up the ball, he puts the ball down, and Rushy, immaculate as ever, shirt out, socks down by his ankles, scruffy Welsh git. He puts the ball down, and he must have taken the worst penalty out of all of them. The ball bounced 3 times before it went in the back of the net. If Tangradi had got up and fell that way, he would have saved it. But as good strikers are, he goes on his knees. Yes, he scored. And then comes Graziani. Graziani picks the ball here, puts the ball under the arm, and then he puts his arm around the referee. And I didn't like that. So I ran into the net. I bit the net. I went, you can't touch the referee, leave him alone. But he carried on walking with his arm around the referee like this, as if he was marching. But you know, Italians, they don't march that way, they march this way. Just a small joke from the Second World War. You youngsters are too young to know anyway. So I went in the net and I bit the net. Eventually, he comes to the spot, he kisses the ball, puts the ball down, crosses himself like this, and this is when I came in the goal like this. I've just bitten the net and I'm thinking, well, this looks like spaghetti. You know when you put hard spaghetti in boiling water, you get a collapse around here, so I gave it like that. He crossed himself, I gave him like that again. And then remembering the stadium to be turned around, because he's the second penalty taker that was watching, it's coming here. I went early, he changed his mind and boom, hit the bar and went over. With me running around the field like this. Yes, you beauty. Yes, come on, you're beauty. Forgetting that I had to take the 5th penalty. But I only found out later, Joe Fagan looked at me, he got hold of Alan Kennedy, he says, listen, grab that ball, get into the box. Have you seen this daft bastard here? So I said to the gaffer, it should be me. He says, if it takes you 15 seconds to get here, you can suffer like the rest of us and watch him take the penalty. Well, Alan Kennedy will tell you, well, he told us all 2 days before the penalty taking anyway, if I get a penalty, I'm going to put it in bottom right, bottom right, bottom right. And he went and hit it so sweetly, top left. In 1981, he had exactly the same thing. Ball hit him on the shoulder, went into the box. The only one place he could put it, bottom right. He smashed the top left there as well. These people that are going to play golf and have shanks. Well, Alan Kennedy's had 2 shanks, but he's won us 2 European Cups. The next manager I worked under was known then as King Kenny. He's now Sir Kenny Dalglish now. And I'm going to leave you, enlighten you, why he resigned from Liverpool his first time. I believe after the 4-4 draw at Everton, he went to the new chairman, Mr. Noel White, and asked Mr. White for £2.5 million to buy a player, to which the chairman said no. And you know what Kenny's like? Well, if he doesn't get his own way, he turned to the chairman and said, if you don't, I'm going to do something you might regret. To which the chairman said, you might as well do it because you're not going to get the money. So what did he do, ladies and gentlemen? The next day he resigned. And where did he go to next? Well, he went to Blackburn and bought a player for 3.75 million. He actually scored at the last game of the season at Anfield for Blackburn to win the league. And that was Alan Shearer. Now I believe that if Alan Shearer had gone to Anfield when he did, Alan Shearer would still be there in some capacity. Sir Kenny Dalglish would have got his knighthood many years ago, and so would I still be at Anfield today. Because the next manager I worked under was the finest player I've ever played with in my life. This player could play any position. Midfield, striker, left back, right back, centre half. The only position he couldn't play, thank goodness, was in goal, because have you ever seen a good Scottish goalkeeper? And he had 2 small hands. And that was Graham Souness, the finest player I've ever played with in my life. But that's where I'm going to leave him, gentlemen, ladies, on the football field. Because as a manager, I thought he might have had a change of heart. He didn't. He had a triple bypass instead. And at the time there were 3 goalkeepers and we all get triple bypassed. Him and myself had some clashes over the years. He sent me to Stoke because I threw him in the bath. And I played 4 games for Stoke. Had I played 5, I would have had another medal. He knew that, so he dragged me back to Anfield. And it's one of those things. The last manager at Anfield was too nice to be a manager, Mr. Roy Evans. 1994 season ended. Last game of the season, we were all on the bus going to play golf. I'm reading the newspaper. On the back page it says Grobbelaar to be given a free. I looked at Roy Evans and I said, when were you going to tell me about this? He looked at me and he said, after the golf. So I left. I left then, 1994-95 season. I was picked up by the late Alan Ball in Southampton. And whilst in that season, on the 8th of November 1994, big headline hit the newspaper, Bruce Grobbelaar getting brown envelopes for throwing games. I went back to Africa, came back from the African trip. Alan Ball called me into the office with Laurie McMenemy. They sat me down, they asked me, did you do it? I said no. So 6 times they asked me, did I do it? I said no. He says, right, you're my goalkeeper for this season. And I played 80% or 85% of the games. The only games that I didn't play, I had a depressed cheekbone. And on those depressed cheekbone days, they lost 3 games and drew 1. So Alan Ball said to me, you're going to have to go to get a mask and you're going to have to play with a mask. I can't have Dave Besant here in goal anymore. So I played 85% of the games. There was a journalist who asked Alan Ball, excuse me, Mr. Ball, you keep on persisting on playing Bruce Grobbelaar this season, who's accused of throwing games, but you've got a goalkeeper, an England goalkeeper, and David Besant, to which Alan Ball replied, excuse me, I'd like to answer this quickly for you. I'd rather have Bruce Grobbelaar throwing games than Dave Besson trying to save them. At the end of the season, we ended up in 10th position, the highest they were ever done since the start in the first